Pusha T, he has some music leak. You know what I'm saying? He had a couple records. I guess he's working on a project that's going to be coming out. And he has some music that actually leaked, just some records that he was working on weren't supposed to come out. And he basically said on Twitter that, it's cool for all the records to leak. That I'm not worried about that. It's old music to me at this point. But he said whoever did it, he's going to try to make an example of him. He's like, Kanye won't be able to stop me. Nobody will be able to stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he really wants to, make an example of said person, whoever did this. But I got to thinking in terms of 2019, when records leak, is that even a thing anymore? When records leak, like, does that affect? Do you guys think that even affects the artist?
Would you know when it was going to drop? I see what you're saying.
I'm just talking about joints slipping out when we know there's an album that is supposed to come out, or
everything's surprise nowadays, anyways. So
right? I don't even think that really matters anymore. Like, we couldn't even imagine someone having that type of reaction. What, 10 years ago, or even longer than that?
I think it still matters. I mean,
so?
Regardless of if a release is surprise release, there's still plan into the surprise and how you're going to execute it. It's not just like, oh, I'm finished, let me put it up. Beyonce didn't do that with her album. It was planned to be a surprise release. Like, somebody just takes your music and puts it out there, then you're caught off guard and you can't.
That's just kind of a shitty thing to do.
For sure. Yeah. But I do think that, to your point, I definitely think it matters. Mm-hmm. So now does he go back and remake some? Who did that happen to early on? That they had to end up releasing like newer. They made more music for it. Was one of the first artists.
That's a good question. I'd have to.
We talked about it on the show.
Happened to Nas back in the day.
Nas, that's who we were talking about.
Was it Nas? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And so like
Jay had an album leak.
Yeah. So Nas is leaked, and then he made some other songs for it or something, and the ones that leaked were apparently better than some. I don't know.
The thing that messes up an artist now with the leak is they're not getting those streaming numbers. That's the only thing that I could say that would affect them, because they're not getting pretty much the equivalent of what you're getting paid off of on all of those streaming platforms, even though you're not getting a lot of money for each stream,
right?
But you want each one of them to count. That's the reason why people drop albums with a lot of songs on it, because they want that stream reach. They want you to play the album and play it all the way through. That way, all of their songs are in reach on some streaming platform.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I can think about.
That makes sense. I'm not.
Yeah,
mad at
it
that.
will affect the money a little bit.
That's the game, right? To your point, like, as much material as possible, constantly get those streams, get that revenue. Jay Moore, you got anything on that one?
Well, it just goes back to when it happened to Nas. It was affecting actual record sales.
Yeah.
People were able to get their hands on the music without having to pay for it. Now nobody pays for music. But to Terry's point, those streams are very important. Being able to download music has just been to the detriment, whether it be the streaming or the album era.
Push is the OG, right? So he's seen some everything, the changes in music, and he's seen everything. To Spool's point about that being something shitty to do, I wonder if these artists in this era even think about or worry about engineers being on bullshit. Like, the engineer can mess up somebody's career. Like, they have everything, the masters and everything. I don't know if these kids today even really think about that.
A question for you guys, but
Yep.
and I would think it'd be like a tighter operation, but how many people have their hands on that? Could get their hands on that?
So back in the day, the way stuff was leaked, I either watched a documentary on it or read a story about it. There was somebody in some distribution center in like North Carolina somewhere who would get them early, and he had an entire operation where he would burn them and put them out online. It was somebody that worked in a distribution center of some sorts.
I could see that.
So because typically you would get the album, the physical, early.
Yeah.
And so they would get it early and then hold it for release and all that stuff. But nowadays, it seems like there'd be a lot less hands touching it.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Like, who, that's important.
To me now it would be it'd be narrowed down, right? Because it's the engineer, the producer, the artist. Like it's not like it has to be passed around on a CD and the A&R process that I would think now.
But
it might actually be easier now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Lon. I'm sorry.
I mean, it could also be, where was the music stored when it was like recorded? Is it saved on somebody's computer, or is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is it at a studio somewhere? That somebody had access to. I remember when I did
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when I did the Red Bull Music Academy thing in Detroit, on the same computers we were using were like a whole bunch of songs from other artists that were around, and they traveled and took these computers to different areas. There was a Mr. Carmack beat session on one of them. It's like, oh wow, as you're working on stuff, but who knows who has access?
Plug in your USB stick.
It'd be gone.
Swap out.
That easy.
Yeah.
So upload that bitch.
Like you can do that shit remotely. Like there's hackers and shit that could. Yeah. It's not that difficult, I don't believe. So
yeah.
I know Apple has
especially
AirDrop,
nowadays.
So you can literally just send somebody something. They don't even have to request it.
There's Splice. You guys familiar with Splice at all? So Splice is a program that we use at the school. I use it on my computer. Every time I save a project in Ableton, it automatically uploads it to my Splice account. So if I log into my Splice account on any other computer and I don't log out, whoever has access to everything I've ever made. So, I mean...
That's crazy.
You got to remember to... Maybe it's something like that. Who knows what it is?
Dang.
So...
I never thought about that because we've talked about Splice before. Like all the access, that's crazy.
Yeah, if it's cloud-based, who knows?
Yeah.
But, maybe it was just someone in...
maybe it was just an asshole.
That was
Could
like
be.
that. In people, I bet, offer other people money to do it too.
It was Drake.
I bet Drake went and did it himself.
He did.
Yeah.
Him and 40.
I don't think Drake should. I don't think Drake should go down that road anymore, man. Because we know how that last one went. Push is still cold. He's still nice. And Push is the type of dude that seems to me to always be ready. Like he tweet about it, like just waiting on somebody.
I don't think it matters.
You see how
it ain't gonna hurt Drake's career.
Wale ran up on him on stage, but he was just coming out on stage to kick it with him, and he squared up with him. He didn't know who it was.
He jumped back. He kind of like he was doing. Remember the Superman
Ah,
Soldier
yeah.
Boy?
You.
And like he was kind of doing that when he jumped back, but he definitely put his, as the old folks say, put his dukes up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?